I don't want to start a whole thing, but I did see on the internets Vin Diesel, one of my favorite actors, if you haven't seen the movie Triple XS, claimed on Jimmy Kimmel's show last week that he was a breakdancer for Beastie Boys.
Ad Rock is almost 60, and the rumors are finally being addressed. The life of Adam Horovitz isn't just a success story, it's a tragedy. Not one single event, but 3 devastating reckonings that shaped the man we know today. First, the moral tragedy of his youthful bigotry and sexism that stained his early career. Second, the physical tragedy of a chronic illness he concealed for years, fighting battles no one could see. Third, the emotional tragedy of losing Adam Yauch, his best friend, and the moral compass who guided him toward redemption. But here's the real question that haunts his story. How did a man who built his fame as a misogynistic frat boy become a celebrated anti-hate activist? The answer is more complicated than you think. Adam Horovitz joined the Beastie Boys at just 16 years old in 1982. 4 years later, everything exploded. Licensed to Ill dropped in 1986 and became the first rap album ever to top the Billboard 200. It was massive. The album sold millions and turned 3 young men from New York into global superstars overnight. But that success came with a price no one anticipated. The band had created a persona, a caricature of hedonistic, misogynistic, and homophobic frat boys. They thought it was parody, a joke mocking the very culture they portrayed. The lyrics were meant to be absurd, antithetical to their real beliefs, but the parody became reality. The song that defined them, Fight for Your Right to Party, was meant as satire. Instead, the audience embraced it as a genuine anthem. The very sophomoric crowd they were making fun of took the song seriously. Even worse, the band started living it. Adam Yauch later admitted that it wasn't until that song came out that they started acting like drunken fools. The character they played consumed them. The pressure of fame and a grueling world tour made everything worse. During the 1987 tour, Yauch hit a breaking point. He told Russell Simmons, the band's manager and Def Jam co-founder, that he was sick of being the drunk guy at the party. But Simmons urged him to keep playing the part because it was profitable. The persona had become a prison. Their live shows proved how far things had gone. Go-go dancers performed in cages on stage. A 20-foot hydraulic penis emerged during performances. This wasn't satire anymore. It was real toxic behavior the audiences cheered for. The sexism was undeniable. The song Girls featured lyrics about women doing dishes, cleaning rooms, and doing laundry, delivered in a shrill, buoyant whine that made it almost impossible to believe he wasn't actually a misogynist. But the homophobia was even more explicit. The album's original title was Don't Be a Faggot. Columbia Records refused to release it under that name, forcing them to change it. This wasn't a misunderstood lyric. It was a clear statement of their mindset at the time. Then came the interview that exposed everything. In 1987, Horovitz sat down with New Music Exchange, a British publication. When asked about living in Greenwich Village, he said he hated faggots. The interviewer clarified, asking if he meant homosexuals. Horovitz doubled down. He replied, "I really do." Adam Yauch tried to intervene, sensing the disaster, but his attempt to justify the statement only made things worse. He tried to distinguish between normal gay people and disgusting faggots he claimed lived in their neighborhood. This wasn't performance. It was genuine hatred, publicly expressed. Those words are shocking to hear today, knowing the man he would become. This is the burden Ad Rock carries, a past that's impossible to erase. But does it make redemption impossible? Let me know in the comments if you believe someone can ever truly make up for a past like that. And if you're finding this story compelling, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives. The path to atonement was long and difficult. It started with Adam Yauch, who became the group's moral compass. In 1994, Yauch wrote a verse for the song Sure Shot that changed everything. He rapped about how the disrespect to women had to be through, offering love and respect to mothers, sisters, wives, and friends. It was the first public apology, a conscious pivot away from the misogyny that had defined their early success. It marked a turning point in their public narrative. 5 years later, Horovitz issued his own formal apology. In a 1999 letter to Time Out New York, he apologized to the entire gay and lesbian community for the ignorant things they said on their first record. He wrote that there were no excuses, but that time had healed their stupidity. They had learned and sincerely changed since the 80s. He acknowledged the harm they had caused without deflection or justification. That same year, he put his changed perspective into action. At the MTV VUBER Video Music Awards, Horovitz addressed the sexual assaults that occurred at Woodstock 99 just weeks earlier. He called on fellow artists and the music industry to provide better security and take responsibility for ensuring women's safety at concerts. This was activism, not just words. His relationship with Kathleen Hanna, the pioneering feminist activist from Bikini Kill and a central figure in the Riot Girl movement, played a crucial role in his transformation. They began dating after his separation from Ione Skye in 1996 and married in 2006. He later spoke about the profound guilt he felt knowing he had rapped about girls doing laundry while the woman he wanted to marry was printing Riot Girl zines and fighting for women's rights. She gave him a feminist awakening he desperately needed. But while Horovitz was confronting his moral failures publicly, he was battling something else privately: epilepsy. For years, the public believed his diagnosis came after a major seizure in 2003. That's when he started wearing a medical alert bracelet, making his condition visible to the world. But the truth is more complicated. In a 1994 interview with Details magazine, Horovitz revealed he had his first full-on seizure back in 1989 during a photo shoot. The camera flashes triggered it, and he woke up in an ambulance. He hid his epilepsy for 14 years. Think about that. 14 years of managing a serious, potentially career-ending condition in complete silence. His condition was photosensitive, triggered by the very thing a rock star cannot avoid: camera flashes. Every performance, every photo op, every moment in the spotlight was a potential threat to his health. The physical reality of epilepsy was fundamentally incompatible with the life of a global celebrity. Fans sometimes misinterpreted his partial seizures as him being high or eccentric, not knowing he was experiencing involuntary tics, lip smacking, and random behaviors caused by his condition. He even referenced it in the song Skills to Pay the Bills, rapping about being an epileptic. When he finally disclosed his epilepsy publicly in 2003, wearing that medical alert bracelet, it became an act of advocacy. His openness sent a wave of empathy through the epilepsy community. By making his vulnerability visible, he helped destigmatize the disease and made it more visible and relatable to millions. For many living with epilepsy, seeing a famous musician navigate the same struggles under the intense glare of stardom was a source of hope and inspiration. He offered them a roadmap for how to accept their condition and take control of their own health narratives. The private tragedy transformed into a public good. To understand Horovitz's activism, you have to understand Adam Yauch. Yauch's spiritual awakening began in the early 1990s and led him to convert to Tibetan Buddhism in 1996. It became the central organizing principle of his entire life, and by extension, the band's moral direction. He co-founded the Milarepa Fund, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting Tibetan independence, and organized the massive Tibetan Freedom Concerts. These concerts raised millions of dollars and brought global attention to the cause. Within the Beastie Boys, Yauch became the undisputed leader and visionary, the moral force driving their evolution. Mike D said that Yauch was the first to realize they had a platform and a responsibility to do something meaningful with it. In 1998, Yauch spoke out against Islamophobia at the MTV Video Music Awards, warning against stereotyping Muslims and Arabs as terrorists. This was years before September 11th, a remarkably prescient statement. Yauch's personal journey created space for the entire band to mature and for their audience to grow with them. His willingness to evolve publicly made the band's redemption possible. Then came the tragedy. Yauch died of cancer in 2012 at just 47 years old. The group lost its guiding force, leaving a massive void in both the band and in the world. 4 years later, that void was filled. In November 2016, just days after a divisive presidential election, Adam Yauch Park in Brooklyn was defaced with spray-painted swastikas and pro-Trump graffiti. It was a profound desecration, a children's playground named for a man of Jewish heritage who dedicated his life to promoting nonviolence, was targeted with symbols of hate. Community leaders organized a stand-up against hate rally in the park, and Adam Horovitz emerged as the leading voice. His speech was powerful, blending personal grief with political urgency. He honored Yauch's legacy first, reminding the crowd that Yauch taught nonviolence in his music and his life. Then he connected the local vandalism to a disturbing national trend, condemning a political climate where a president had been elected who gave children the message that it's okay to write white power in school hallways. Horovitz didn't stop at condemnation. He issued a direct call to action. He urged people to donate to Black Lives Matter and Planned Parenthood. He called on artists to use their skill for social good, to lend their services to the causes they care most about. Quoting a lyric from Sure Shot, he declared that we can't and we won't and we don't stop. He labeled the rising hate crimes, homegrown terrorism, for real. Then he concluded with a direct rejection, saying he rejected Donald Trump's vision for America and asking New York City to do the same. In that moment, the transformation was complete. In defending the park named for his friend, Horovitz was performing an act of inheritance. He was actively accepting the responsibility of Yauch's legacy, carrying forward the message of peace and social consciousness that his friend had instilled in him. The man who once shouted slurs was now leading a rally against bigotry. The hedonistic nihilism of fight for your right to party had been transformed into a genuine fight for what's right, for social justice, and the rights of marginalized communities. The platform built on shock value had been painstakingly rebuilt into a tool for social good. Ad Rock's legacy isn't perfection. His past can't be erased, and he's never claimed otherwise. But his legacy is about confronting the ugliest parts of his past and spending decades building a new legacy of empathy and action. His life is a rare, public story of real redemption. It shows that meaningful change is possible, even when the road is long and difficult. It shows that hypocrisy in the service of growth is better than a lifetime of ignorant consistency. It shows that the work of atonement is never finished, but it's always worth doing. What are your thoughts on Ad Rock's full circle transformation? If you want more deep dives into the complex lives of public figures, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.